An alle Frauen, die gesagt haben, mir fehle das gewisse Extra. Ich hab's jetzt. Von Sinalco. Und euch gebe ich nix davon ab.
Hast du's auch schon? Sinalco extra fruchtig. Jetzt in 3 leckeren Sorten mit 10% Frucht. Gönn dir dein Extra.
Die Sinalco schmeckt.
Und jetzt neu. Sinalco extra zuckerfrei. 0% Zucker, 100% Geschmack.
Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this program about your Kundalini awakening experiences. My name is Chrism. I'm your host for this program, and it's a beautiful, beautiful Wednesday, 12 noon, our new time, our new noon time. And I'm looking outside now, and there's a beautiful green tree with all these young leaves on it, and the blue sky and some clouds on that blue sky. It's a very beautiful day, and I just want to welcome you to it. This is a program talking about the Kundalini in the way that the Kundalini in me chooses to give to you. And this is outside of entity. This is outside of ego. This is outside of the qualities of society that support the fear of loss and the want of gain. That being said, I mean, there are certain areas within the Kundalini that are definitely going to feel like a gain and that are definitely going to feel like a loss. So because we're so addicted to using our ego, we associate the lack of an egocentric position as a loss, because this is all we've known since we were born. You know, since we came into this world, you know, it's been about developing the ego. You know, remember the 2-year-old coming up to mommy and, you know, mommy saying, "Hi, honey, how are you?" And the 2-year-old said, "No." My dogs just looked at me like, why is he saying that? Remember, the development of this ego has been a lifelong process for you. And it's really important that you understand that just as you were birthed into this world and you had to develop the ego, so are you now being birthed into the Kundalini, where you have less of a need for the ego. Matter of fact, you want to retrain the ego. You certainly don't want to kill it or demolish it or annihilate it or any of that stuff like some of the other Sanskrit scriptures would say, or Western occultism would suggest. No, here we're going more along the line perhaps of the Huna ideology, where you teach the ego to learn. And as that ego learns, it has the capacity to become a middle self, and then eventually it has the capacity to evolve into the higher self, or the Amakua, which translate directly as the Kundalini. So it's important for people to understand that you've got to step out of the control of the ego. This is that time in your evolution where you step outside of the control of the ego. Now, the ego is basically controlling you by virtue of needs, and these needs will certainly conceptualize within the want of gain. So you want to gain something. You want to gain food. You want to gain shelter. You want to gain Maslow's pyramid of needs. So you want to gain food, you want to gain shelter, you want to gain the ability to reproduce, you want to gain all of the survival things that basically correspond with the first and second chakras. Okay, the first and second wheels of intelligent energy that are located along the spinal cord which coincide with certain levels of neural plexus that give specific information and activation of certain behaviors within the human being. So there we have the whole chakra thing. And so, it's very important for a person to understand that just as the 2-year-old is gaining their baby teeth, and then they start to lose those baby teeth when they're around 7 or 8 or 9. So are we losing our baby teeth by virtue of losing our ego and helping that ego to reform itself into the mature adult teeth that are coming in to the mouth at that time. And so it's as baby teeth, they don't come all out at the same time. They don't. They come one here this month, one there another month, and so on and so forth. There is no rush. It is not a race. When the time is right, that tooth will fall out, and then, of course, we have the tooth fairy where we monetize the teeth. Want of gain again. And so, we need to start looking at the ego and how it controls us through the want of gain and also the fear of loss. If through the want of gain you gain a certain thing, let's just say you gained $10 and you're thinking, oh my God, I just gained $10. This is so nice. This is so good. This is so perfect. $10. Oh, yes, I'm rich. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, God, I don't want to lose this $10. Somebody could take it from me. Something could break, and I'd have to spend that $10 in order to fix it. Oh my God, I've got to protect this $10. It's like, if I don't have this $10, then my happiness will go away. And I can't have that because it feels so good to have the $10. I just like, the fear of loss steps in. And so we got to be very careful with how we view our money and our position in life, the power that we think we wield in life. Power, say, if you're a boss or a manager on the job and you have 40 or 50 people working under you, under your control, under your great, majestic power. So you have to look at that. You have to look at how you're treating people fairly or unfairly. You have to look at whether or not you're slapping them with your ego or not. These develop into the tests of karma and the tests of grace, with which we teach ourselves, but we also condition other people's lives based upon how we teach ourselves through the ego. So you need to be aware of the ego now. And you need to be so aware of it that you can begin to take it out of its control position in your life. So the scenario is that, the ego, that self, that personality, who you are, I am Chrism, and that ego that signifies itself is just a small portion of what our actual brain physiology offers us. We have vast powers, vast levels of intellect and wisdom are just a step away, really. And it's like the donkey with the carrot suspended by a stick that is dangling in front of it. That donkey will always start walking towards that carrot. And it leads that donkey in a very specific way. And we're the donkey. We're the jackass. We're the burro. I'll just stick with donkey. We're the donkey. And, and I have to thank everybody here in the chat room. every time we do these blog talks, we have to do sound check, and it looks like the sound is coming. So thank you, Manisha. Thank you very much. Okay, all right. So we're the donkey, and we have to train the donkey that we are to move into higher levels of wisdom. We're trying to be a smart donkey, okay, a very smart donkey, and then we're going to move from a smart donkey to a wisdom horse. And I think Travis will enjoy these comparisons here. Emma, once again, let that sound soak into you, every cell, every fiber of your being. And that goes for everybody here, too. If you can position yourself in a way that the sound permeates your body, if you're in a really, really cold environment and you're covered up, uncover yourself. Be as uncovered as the day you were born, and let this sound go into your cells as unadulterated as possible. So getting back to the donkey here. The donkey will evolve through the direction that the carrot is taking it. And this carrot, we'll just call this a golden carrot, because the golden carrot is Kundalini. And so it's steering the donkey towards areas of enlightenment and karmic redemption and experience and testing that allows that donkey to evolve into a wisdom horse, and from a wisdom horse into a semi-divine horse. And so the scenario really is that we have to get the ego out of the way. We can't always operate from the fear of loss and the want of gain. And we must, one of the, shall we say, one of the effects of this is to open up the brain even further. We're operating at less than 10% of the brain, and if you can operate at 20% or 30%, everything opens up for you. You may not know all and be all, but everything opens up for you to receive that as your access to the brain expands. The human being is such an amazing, amazing system, and it's far more amazing than we're able to realize operating with under 10% of the brain, right? We have gifts that surpass physics, gifts that surpass science, way, way surpass. I mean, just so far past science and physics and the understandings. Our bodies have natural anti-gravitic, so we're not as beholden to gravity. We have levels of telekinesis, telepathy, clairvoyance, clairaudience. I mean, all the gamut of what we understand divine gifts to be, we have within us right now. Right now. We have the ability to heal. We have the ability to heal ourselves and heal others. We have the ability to go without food, to go without water. We have the ability to take in nutrients that are beyond the normal intake of food and water. We have such amazing skill sets, and yet they're all really positioned for you to help other people. For you to help other people come to where you are. It's like when you have the Kundalini, you become a golden carrot that is dangled in front of the eyes of the other sleeping people. And as they partake of your radiance, they follow in a certain way, certainly not like a donkey or anything, but they follow you by virtue of that radiance. This is why a lot of Kundalini people attract a lot of people around them. And it's very important to understand that the more your brain opens up, the more divine opportunities you will have to express that divinity. But it's the Kundalini that is the golden key to opening up the brain. Now, we get a lot of people that are smoking DMT or doing ayahuasca 10,000 times or or smoking pot. Well, it's like a medicine for me, and I get into this very holy state, and I'm just, that's great. I've got no problem with marijuana, except I would prefer that the people that are listening to me be able to stand in the middle of the Sahara Desert where there is no pot or marijuana, and still be able to access those levels of wisdom and serenity that come from the Kundalini, not from a plant that people basically use for its recreational value, and don't even think that it's not addictive. If it feels good, if it gives you pleasure, then it's addictive, and it becomes part of the fear of loss and want of gain. Want of gain meaning it feels good. Fear of loss meaning you don't want to stop it. Just saying, okay? So it's important for people to understand that as we open our brain, we are opening ourselves to our divine natures. And so let that expand. This is why I'm telling you to stop covering yourself up when you hear the sound of this program or the sound of the CD, and let those vibrations permeate your body. Feel your brain being unlocked, and accept that unlocking, even though at first it's going to be confusing. It's going to be confusing because you're so used to having the ego as the arbiter of what you think and how you think and what you feel and how you feel and what you respond to and how you react to the response. I mean, so, you've been very, very strongly conditioned throughout your lifetime in order to respect the fear of loss and the want of gain. And here, Chrism comes along and says, hey, within the Kundalini, you can't have that respect for the ego anymore. Matter of fact, the ego has to respect your wishes rather than you respecting the ego. As you unlock that brain and you bring these higher levels of life into your life, into your mundane life, everything's going to change for you. Your mindset is going to change. So the way you think will change. And it will change along the lines of the Kundalini. And this is, of course, presuming no entities are being allowed to speak as if they are the Kundalini, because you'll not unlock that level of the brain. Matter of fact, they will try to close down your brain. So if you, all of a sudden, you're just eating an apple in your living room, kind of wondering what's on TV, as you're doing that. Just a second now. Microsoft wants to restart my computer. This would not be a good time. Just a second. What do I have to do here? Restart options. And we're going to pick a time of day. Uh-oh. Oh, boy. Microsoft. Just a second. Just pick up a time. It just warned me about this, ladies and gentlemen, so my apologies. So, we'll go here, and we'll go there. Yeah, that should be fine. Okay, and then what? I get to save it? No. Okay, let's pick a time. I'm sorry for having this interruption, ladies and gentlemen. But of course, they are not very good at this. They don't know how to talk to their customers. All right, here we go. PM. All right, so maybe this will work. Okay, so as I was saying, I think I lost my train of thought here. God. So as we open up the brain further and further and further, at the beginning of that opening, the entities are going to want to step in. And so if you're eating an apple in the living room and all of a sudden you hear a voice saying, I am God, and thou shalt listen to me unto the end of thy days, or something like that. It could be a feminine voice too. Although I can't mimic a feminine voice quite accurately. You know what I'm talking about. You know, something pops into your head saying that it's in a position to control you. Don't buy it. Don't believe it. This is just another test that you're beginning. It's an environmental test, really. The entities are part of the lower astral environment, and they are used by the Kundalini in order to test the behavioral merits of the person that is coming into grace. And it's a harsh lesson. So if you're coming into grace and you're not quite up to forgiveness or tolerance or compassion, service, honesty, truth, if you're not quite up to these qualities, then the entity is going to dominate you, and it's going to lead you into kind of a downward spiral of corruption. And if you are up to these qualities, well, you'll recognize the lie that the entity is telling you, and you'll just start to ignore it. And pretty soon it fades into the background. It's nothing anymore. It does not have the ability to control you. And then you go further into the expansion of the crown chakra, which we're calling the brain. Make no mistake, the crown chakra is the brain. And the emanations that come from the crown chakra have all the previous chakras from the first to the sixth imbued upon it. So all of the chakras along the spine, all the various nexi and plexi are inside of the bloom. If you look at your spinal cord as a stem and the brain as the flower, they're all inside of that beautiful bloom, that beautiful flower that is in a constant state of blooming, that your brain is, that your crown chakra is. And so as you're able to pass through these the many tests, that some of them are from entities, some of them are from other things, and as you come into that, you open more of your brain, and it'll be just like 1% more. 1%, though, goes a long ways. 1% can be a level of wisdom that allows you to lead your life in a very, very specific way, a life-changing 1%. And you'll gradually keep accepting those 1%. And the scenario is that some of these tests, before you start, gaining 1%, some of these tests are very, very deceptive. The Kundalini, it will seem like the Kundalini is coming to you and saying, "Oh no, you're great, we're all good, yeah." The one thing I'd like you to take out is this affection that you have for the color blue. I don't think the color blue is appropriate for you anymore. And Kundalini would never do that. That would be not something that it would do, and it'll not do other things too. It'll not, if you feel yourself being groomed to be something you're not, or to act in certain ways that you normally wouldn't act, or to interact with other people that you normally wouldn't do that type of an interaction, then you need to look at an entity interfering. They're not all as bombastically corruptive as I've been suggesting. Some of them are quite slick and manipulative and can slide right in there. One of those would be that sloth entity that I talked about in another program a few weeks ago. The sloth entity, it just slips right in there, and you just start getting messier and messier and okay with it. You're okay with the mess. All of a sudden, you've gone from being a clean Nazi to a sloth Nazi, and it's all okay. I've had experiences with this since I was a kid. Seriously. This is another way that an entity can slip in to foul your process, to harm your process. And so be very, very astute and aware, and live by virtue of the safety protocols and those behaviors, those noble behaviors that are mentioned in the safety. That would be www.kundalinysafeties.com, and you can get there, and you can start reading about that. It's very, very, very important to practice the Kundalini safety protocol, www.kundalinysafeties.com. And I want to thank Vincent for putting that website together. And I might be able to visit Vincent when we go to Germany in a few weeks here. If you want to dial into the show at any time, here's the guest call-in number. It is area code 347-934-0026. That's a New York area code. I'm here in California, but it's a New York area code. It is area code 347-934-0026. And call in anytime if you have a question or if you just want to chat with Centaur, which, to me, that would be the reason. So as we expand, let's just presume that you're passing these tests that the Kundalini is giving you, giving you a subtle entity, giving you a bombastic entity, and she's seeing, oh, wow, okay, yeah, this person is really, she's passing through these gates of acceptability very well. And good. So, boom, we unlock another percentage of the brain that this person is allowed to be aware of. And all of a sudden, they have all this information coming to them from the blues. Like, wow, it's like, oh, God, such wisdom, such grace, such beauty, such divine logic, such an understanding that is coming from such an amazing level of intelligence. And the person goes into deep gratitude and deep study. And as they matriculate through these studies and this gratitude, and they spread the gifts of that wisdom to other people, boom, another percentage is opened up. And then another, and then another, and then another. And pretty soon the person literally floating in the air because levitation has begun to take effect. And, they're levitating without trying. It's just happening. Like St. Teresa of Avila, she was levitating. She didn't even try. It was kind of, how should I say it? It was, people had to be assigned to hold her to the pew so that she wouldn't float away. And this is a real deal, folks. Nobody's making this stuff up. Who we are, how we are, what we are as human beings that have the ability to become semi-divine. St. Teresa was at a stage where she was becoming semi-divine. And so she had to be held down because that part of her body, her brain, that had the anti-gravitic properties was in full operation. Uh-oh. I'm going to have to close the door here. Just a second. I'll change the subject a little bit here. We had a fire hydrant go out. For those of you that have fire hydrants, well, you know what they are. And for those of you that don't, these are water locations for the firemen and women to come in and put out a fire in a house, in a neighborhood, should a fire break out, and they call them fire hydrants. Anyway, our fire hydrant was leaking, and I noticed that it was leaking. I could see that it was leaking, but I could also see. Here you go. This is right along the lines of what I'm talking about here. So the hydrant was leaking, and so there was standing water on this area of the lawn that borders the street, and the first thing that came to me is, oh my gosh, it's leaking. Oh wow, look at all that water there. And then I thought, wow, isn't that a blessing for all the insects and the worms and the birds and the honeybees and the various animal creatures that come along? They can get a drink of fresh water. How perfect. I'm not going to report this. I'm not going to report this. I'm just going to let this be. And for, let's see, November, for 6 months, it remained as a virtual watering hole for the community of creatures that live with us and next to us and around us. And I was perfectly happy for that. I felt that was great. I felt that is exactly how it should be. We should share the resources instead of hogging them so badly as we do. Well, just as soon as I noticed that, the owner of the house came out and looked and said, "Oh my God, the fire hydrant must be leaking." I said, "Yeah, it looks like it's leaking." And inside I'm going, "Yay!" And she's going, "Oh damn, we got to fix that." And then another neighbor came along and said, "Oh my God, that needs to be fixed." And all of a sudden the watering holes just went away. They brought in the big guns yesterday, and they took out all the cement and went down to the pipe, 5 feet into the ground, and no more watering hole. But you can see the difference between a Kundalini person and, say, your mundane person. It's like, for the mundane person, it's all about them and their needs. Has really nothing to do with the needs of the animals or the plants or the various creatures that live around us and among us. It's all about what the human wants. So that's kind of that's the indication of a specific level of mindset. And I'm not casting aspersions, to people that occupy that mind space, but I am delineating it from a mind space that really looks at all the life, not just one species of life, all the life. And all the life deserves to live. You've been given life. Well, they have also been given life. So what's the difference between the life of an ant and the life of a human? Not much. Not much difference at all. All right, and let's not go to brain size, because brain size, dolphins have bigger brains than we do, and they use them better. I think they're up to like 20%. There you go. Go swim with the dolphins. So it's really important to understand that as you gain percentages in your ability to access information from the exaltation of the crown chakra. Remember, we're equating directly the crown chakra with that part of the human anatomy that we call the brain. And as that brain awakened by the Kundalini stored at the base of the spine, great levels of beauty, joy, of course, will erupt from the individual. As I've mentioned in some other programs, the organs begin to take on a different operative level. So the kidneys take on a very different operation, other than taking out salts out of the bloodstream and impurities out of the bloodstream. The kidneys have an exalted function. And the adrenals have an exalted function. The lungs have an exalted function. And so you have these higher functions that the organs are multi-operative. They have multi levels of operation that incorporate different activities that medical science has not been able to measure, because medical science recognizes Kundalini. Medical science is so far behind. I mean, they're not even at the donkey with the carrot, they're more at the paramecium, traveling through life and just eating and consuming and basically, going to the bathroom in its own nest. I mean, that's science right now compared to, say, somebody within the Kundalini mindset. And we've all been there, there's no judgment. We've all been there. We all been that paramecium, that amoeba. Some of us have been more of an amoeba than a paramecium. But hey, it's there are exaltation levels to those single cell creatures as well. And they're all beautiful, and they're all part of the creation of the divine upon this world, as are we. So with that in mind, as you begin to expand your mind through these percentages of the awakening of the brain occurring, as I said, your organs will take on different different operations. And as you begin to pass through these barriers that are in place by society or by the programming of the ego, by the way you were raised, by your religious values or your non-religious values, so shall you surpass that programming through the levels of percentage acquisition that you're getting to view the brain with. And as you go into areas like, say, where St. Teresa was, or St. Hildegard von Bingen, or St. Francis of Assisi, or these other people that have come, these are some of the Western people that have come into Kundalini. I can also name Sri Aurobindo from India, Ramakrishna from India, Vivekananda from India, Yogananda from India. These saints also. And then you have kids, some of the Buddhist saints, the people that never eat, and some of the great saints of the Buddhist belief system too had very, very similar qualities and a very similar control over their levitation. Number one, they could fly. They could direct themselves through the air. They could also affect the weather. They were very friendly to animals, so on and so forth. I'm trying to think of some of the names. I just can't right now. So as you open up more percentages of the crown chakra or the brain, so do these gifts of grace come to you. And you will be typically counseled through that wisdom that comes to you not to show them off to other people. That seems to be one of the big rules, because if you're showing them off to people, that's degrading down into self-aggrandizement. That's going right back into egotism. And so most of the saints would not voluntarily show the great gifts that they had. They would keep quiet about it. And, certainly in this day and age of science, unless you want to be vivisected or, cut up into a bunch of different parts and have the scientists go, hey, I think there's a sail over here, you want to avoid that, so you don't speak up about it. I had a guy come up to me just yesterday and say, yeah, well, through the Kundalini, I can tell the future. I know what's going to happen to me and to others tomorrow. And I said, okay, go ahead. Tell me. And the very next day he came up to me and he said, I can't do it. I just can't do it. And on the two ways, I believe, first of all, I don't believe he had that skill set, number one. But number two, if he did have it, he still wouldn't be able to say it. He wouldn't be able to put it. He would let them film him on television and do this great level of self-aggrandizement. That's going back. That's going backwards into density. Whereas, to truly receive the abilities of being able to tell the future, to see the future events, that's coming into areas of great refinement. So this is what I wanted to discuss with you today. As we come into greater percentages of the crown chakra opening, the brain opening to itself, awakening to itself. As we gain these percentages, we gain refinement. As we gain that refinement and we express that refinement in a way that is guided to us by the Kundalini, by our own brain. We're kind of being taught by the Kundalini, which is awakening the brain. Then as we follow that path, we get greater views. We're able to see further and deeper into our own nature. And this is the goal. This is where we want to go as we become semi-divine upon this physical world. All right, so there you have it. Now, hopefully, it looks like we have a question from Indra. And I'm going to zoom on over to Indra, and I'm going to say, but first I want to look at the chat room, see if we have any questions from there. And no, it doesn't look like we have questions from. I would like to welcome everybody who's listening on Facebook. I cannot tell who is listening on Facebook. I can go over to Facebook and I can see, I can see who's kind of listening. If they decide to let me know by saying, "Hey, I'm here," well, then you can go ahead and do that. And I invite you to say, "Hey, I'm here. I'm listening to the program," and I will certainly acknowledge that. Oh, here we are. Okay, so we got a couple. It looks like Chica Marcelinius is there and saying that he can't connect. And we've got some people that are typing, and Centaura's there. Hello, Centaura. And so people are active here. So let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and welcome people here on Facebook. And I want to welcome everybody in the chat room. Thank you, my friends, for coming and joining us in this program. And I am going to make an introduction here. She's the supporter of the show. She's the one that with me in December 12th, 2012, opened up the program. It is Centaura Kundalini. And welcome to the program, Centaura. Hello.
Huh, I'm here. You caught me on the hop, as we say here. I thought you were going to speak with Indra, so I was over on Facebook.
So you went to the bathroom, right?
No, I was on Facebook.
That's a perfect time. I don't blame you. It's a perfect time to go. I would have gone.
I was speaking. So, so very interesting, Chrism. I haven't heard you speak as much about the brain aspect, so specifically.
I've never spoken this way.
Yeah. So
no, never.
But it still
new material.
Fits with everything. Yeah, but it still fits with everything you've been teaching. Yes, it opens up another aspect as well to it's really cool. I loved the golden carrot with the donkey.
That's basically what it is. I mean,
yeah.
Because when you're controlled by the five senses, you're basically controlled by the wants and the needs of the individual. And so basically it's talking about a person that is totally controlled by the ego being guided out of the incarceration of the ego. And that golden carrot kind of leads the way.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, right.
Because initially... Oh, okay, go.
Yeah? No, go. What were you saying?
No, I was going to say, initially the golden carrot is there, and you're following it, and you really are clueless totally, and yet you're following it, and you don't have much of a choice, and then
don't.
I just loved it.
It's like your spinal cord is extended out through your head, and there's a nice filament with a golden carrot dangling in front of your eyes, and like the donkey, you're constantly trying to get to the carrot, and so if it swings to the right, well, then you're going to turn to the right. If it swings to the left, you'll turn to the left, and there's another thing to this. There's a whole other aspect to this. Carrots are golden in what they do for your body. The amount of vitamin A, the amount of nutrients inside of a carrot truly make that vegetable one of the most golden vegetables there is for human consumption. And so carrots are truly a golden opportunity. And you look at that analogy, they're always saying, oh, you choose the carrot or the stick, right? So you're choosing something good or something that's going to be painful. Carrots are always seen as something good, and they truly are. If you can get fresh pressed carrot juice, I suggest you have 8 ounces of that every single day, any time of the day. Just an FYI. Okay, let's come on over to Miss Indra here. And hello, Indra, you're on the program. How are you?
Good. How are you, Chrism?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good.
Do you have a question?
Yes. I have two small questions. You don't have to spend a lot of time on it. Just quickly tell me what you think. Well, I had that dream. I wrote at the group where I climbed down some rocks and I went to a river, and I was pulling off some of my hair, and I put it in the river, and then I went up back the rocks and up to the top again. What do you think that means?
So you went down to the river, you pulled off some hair, you threw it in the river, right?
Yes.
And you had a hook on the end of it and some bait, like a worm on the end of it, and you were like holding the hair in the river. Is that no?
No.
No. Well,
no carrots either.
Lucky for that worm, huh? Okay, so yeah, you're taking out a strand, and basically you're being shown that the grace that is flowing through your awakened brain or your awakened crown chakra is flowing like a river and as big as a river.
Wow, I didn't even, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and the energy coming out of your head through the fontanelle and through the radiance is, I mean, you're to see that hair as it is floating down the river, and what I'm getting is the size gradient is very similar. So if you were to throw a piece of hair, the size comparisons of a hair to a river
right.
is very similar.
Oh, I see. So, and it was like a chunk of hair.
Oh, well, okay. The chunk of hair.
No, I just had to throw that.
Listen. That also may be a message that you might be losing some of your hair too, and not to worry about it. It's
but
being lost.
I have been losing hair for the last year.
Ah, well, there you go. So don't worry about it. It is being changed, transformed through the volume of energy that is coming through your head, vis-a-vis a river of Kundalini. Okay. And
right.
As you go through your life as bald as a billiard ball, you need to embrace the new look.
Embrace the new look of being bald.
I'm just kidding.
That's not gonna happen too easy.
I'm just poking at the ego here. That's all I'm doing. Just having a little fun.
Okay. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So
but let me tell you, I wouldn't care. I wouldn't care if it totally made me bald and wiped out my beard and you know the hair remnants that I still have and I wouldn't care. I mean, if the Kundalini, you know, just gave me one more percentage point than where I'm at, that would be totally worth it.
Yeah.
Totally worth it.
Yeah, I guess. But I don't want to be bald.
Okay.
Not yet.
You may want to let go of that line in the sand there. You know, you may want to let go.
I know. And I've been doing that a lot. So I have a new experience. I just want to run it by you, which was completely different. I went for a walk. Like I walk almost every day. And about 3 days ago, I'm heading to my walk route. And what I noticed was, as I was walking, there was a big wheel in front of me. And I'm walking, I could feel it. And I walked for 40 minutes. Very heavy. I felt very heavy. I wanted to turn around and just come back home. But I went for my walk. But I could feel, and this is different because I've never felt Kundalini energy like this before. Like it was always through my body up, you know, and around and all that stuff. But it was a wheel in front of me, and I'm walking, and I could feel it.
A weed?
A wheel.
A wheel of weed? I'm kidding.
No weed.
Well, like a chakra, often the Kundalini will come as a wheel or a sphere, which can be used as a wheel, and it will lead you certain areas. It will lead you in certain ways, and that wheel of energy, it's you said it was making you feel more tired, right?
And the thing is, I was going in the direction of it. Like, I paid attention. So it's like imagine a big wheel way ahead of me. But I don't know if it's running through me because I couldn't feel it at the back. I could only feel what's going on in front of me. So as I'm walking, I'm feeling this wheel, and I could feel it going left, right, straight. But that's how my body was going.
I'm just having a look at it. You're going to come into more and more of these little tests and skirmishes, as I mentioned earlier in the monologue. These are really to be appreciated. You don't necessarily need to follow any energetic form. You just follow what the Kundalini wants you to follow. Now, if your Kundalini was saying to follow that wheel of energy, then fine. Then you do it. But if it was just
automatic, Chrism. It was just automatic.
If you didn't have a choice, then you didn't have a choice, and there you go. And that can be another communication to you, the level of Kundalini direction that she's going to give to you, and you may have to just become aware of that wheel if it happens again in your life, and learn how to follow the indication that she's giving you.
Right. Got it.
But it's still a test. It's kind of an upgraded test anyway for you, an exo, outside of the inner force of your body, and an exo energetic signature compelling you to follow it. This is something that you maybe would not have felt before, and so now it's for you to discern it in all of its manifestations.
Right.
Not just that one way with the walk. Let's see if it repeats itself, shall we?
Yes.
So you take your walk today, and let's see if it repeats itself. I'll be curious to know.
Okay. But it happened 3 days in a row, though, eh?
Oh, hey, it did, eh? Well, that's pretty good. That's a good pattern, eh?
It happened 3 days in a row. Like, I usually, like, on my walk route, like, I'll stop off at a park where I meditate. I'll lie there, I'll meditate, do my thing, then come home. And I noticed, like, I almost turned around, came back home because it was different. It had a different sensation. It was huge.
Oh, that's
so I go, no, I'm not going to, pardon me?
Say again?
Can you hear me?
Yes. You were laying down?
Yes.
And the wheel was running over you back and forth like a car wheel, right?
I didn't get that. You're breaking up.
The wheel, what?
Go ahead.
So you were laying down in the grass and you felt the pull of the wheel there, right?
Well, I was walking and I felt it there. I felt it way, like, huge in front of me. And then I went to the park and I'm lying down. So as I'm lying down, I could feel this wheel all the way around.
Nice.
But I've never felt it walking.
Oh, I see. Well, things are changing. Indra, things are increasing. I'm not seeing it as a wheel, though. I'm seeing it as a giant, kind of like a 6-foot round ball of energy that is just rolling.
Could be.
I don't see it as a wheel. Yeah, that's
okay.
That's what I'm seeing. I'm just seeing it's like.
But that's normal, right?
Well, listen, it would be like, this is the picture that I'm being shown right now. It would be like an awakened person in an alternate, not an alternate reality, but in a reality one step away from this one, where it could still blend with this reality and be in a different reality at the same time.
That's what it felt like.
Okay.
That is what it felt like, because I'm looking at other people, right? I'm looking at other people
Right.
who's walking. I'm looking around, and that is what it felt like. And I'm looking to see, I don't know. Maybe I was looking for something to ground myself to feel, okay, I'm part of Earth. Okay, there's people here. Oh, my God, I wonder if this is happening to them. And I'm looking around. I'm looking to, like,
what I'm suggesting is that it would be a person with the awakened Kundalini and their radiance is diametrically flowing out of them as if a ball of energy is walking in front of you. And that person in their Kundalini, that person of grace is leading you this way and that.
Right.
There you go.
Okay, got it.
Got it.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed. You're welcome, my dear. You're welcome. And putting you into the blue. And so, yeah, people, because it's not so common in the populations, we tend to think that we are alone with grace. And we're forgetting the billions and zillions of people that have come before us and the percentages of people that have awakened their grace, like St. Francis of Assisi or St. Teresa of Avila. These people, they awaken their grace too. And let's not forget the shamans and the temple priestesses of the Babylonian era, of the era of great antiquity, the era of the Rome, the era of the Alexandrians, the era of the people of the Sumerians. Let's not forget the shamans of Siberia and Africa, South America, China. Let's not forget the great gifts of the indigenous people that did not make it into the halls of history as depicted through Western occultism or Western belief systems. Many, many, many people over time have awakened their Kundalini and have been given those greater percentages of seventh chakra function and have moved beyond the physical expression, and they may come back and they may be attracted to your energetic signature. And, you'll feel it as a ball of compelling. It's like a locality of a source that is compelling you to do as Indra suggests. And so, be aware of that. I mean, you are not as alone as you think. All right. And moving onward, I see Miss Centaura is with us again. Hello, Centaura. And before I go further, I would like to say something to Mr. Mohan, who is probably in that noisy mall, which I have visited now, so I totally understand the noise. And I'd like to say thank you, Mohan, for hosting the Colorado seminar, and what a beautiful experience that was. What a beautiful location, a beautiful group of people, a beautiful man who's supporting it. And I just want to say thank you to you, Mohan. Thank you very much.
Thanks to you, Master.
And have you had anything happen to you since then?
Yes, many things are happening, Master.
You won the lottery? You won the lottery, right?
Not yet. So
what's happened to you that you can speak of that's not too personal?
Not personal. Just a second. Yeah, I feel there is a channel of energy which is running through my legs, and especially the left leg. Continuously, the energy is pumping out. I can feel that energy going out of my left leg. That's one thing. And the other thing is my forehead. It used to have lots of tension, like something is pulling in the forehead. Now that has released, and I feel it is like soft, some liquid flowing here and there in the forehead, and even in the top of the skull, like something has opened and it is something is like broken open, and I can feel like there is some fountain kind of thing always flowing out, and even if I am going under the door frame, I can feel that something from my head is hitting the door frame.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Now, the instruction that I got as soon as you said that you were feeling the flows coming up the legs is to put your eyes into the eyes up position as much as you safely can do so. So not when you're driving or not when you're supposed to be working on your computer, but when you're just meditating or sleeping or trying to go to sleep or focusing on the Kundalini in some way. Bring those eyes up and keep that tongue tip behind the upper front teeth. And those two actions will pull more of that energy coming up your left leg. And it's coming out of the fontanelle of your brain. And that is a Latin term for the fountain that's at the top of the head, which the Kundalini emits itself from the body. And that is building what I call, and this is just my phrase, folks, you won't read this anywhere, that's what I call a bodhisattva. And the bodhisattva really is the extended fountain of energy that is coming out the top of a person's head. And it sets itself up, in my views, as a very distinct kind of patterns. This has been going on for me since 2010. And so the bodhisattva is that energetic tower that's coming out the top of your head, and why you're going to feel it every time you walk through like a door or as you drive through a garage or anything that is going to impact that energy is going to be felt by you.
Right. Even the hairs stand up on the top of the head, along with the energy. Yeah. I feel like I have spikes on my head. And
is this just recently? Is this a recent development?
Been since, yes, after the seminar. And
but I think you were moving pretty well before the seminar too. I think you had it going pretty well. Yeah. Well, this is really good news, Mohan. This is really good news, and I really want you to continue to do the 5 Tibetans, to continue to do the forgivenesses and the tolerances, for American life, and the tolerances for familial life, and to really begin to commit yourself completely to this practice without sacrificing any of the other qualities of life that you're currently engaged with, like family, friends, things like that. You might take out some of that spicy food, though. Oh, my God. Maybe not. Maybe she's okay with you having that spicy, hot, like, burn your mouth out. But, and, because look what's happening to you. Look what's happening to you. There's a saying in the United States, and I'll say it to you right now, Mohan. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Otherwise, if it isn't broken, there's no need to repair it.
Right. Yes.
So yeah.
So I'm having one more thing, Master. It's like when I'm walking or sitting somewhere, I feel that somebody's holding my right elbow and pulling me. Like somebody's touching my elbow and pulling me somewhere. I like feeling weird when I'm walking at work or sitting at work.
So you're feeling? Are they guiding you? Do you feel like you're being guided?
I don't know. I just feel a touch on my right elbow, and there's some kind of pull. Like there is nothing on the right. There is a wall. Like I cannot bump into a wall.
It's okay. It's okay, my friend. But just say thank you. When you feel it, just say thank you. Have gratitude.
Okay.
Yeah. It will develop more and will communicate. The Kundalini in you will communicate what is going on more as you continue to walk this path, and as you continue to let this path walk you.
Okay.
You're doing great, Mohan. You're doing really, really well. Keep it up. Keep it, my friend. All right, moving on. Looks like we have another question here, and it looks like they are under interrogation by Centaura. Who are you? What are you going to say? Have you been drinking alcohol or doing drugs? Do you eat Irish products? You know, whatever it might be. Okay. All right. I'm going to come on over here to the chat room and see if anybody has any questions. I'd like to welcome Manisha because she never gets to do it from our previous time slot, and so here she is. And Manisha writes, she says, but I had an experience almost 2 weeks ago. I was sitting in meditation with others, and there was so much energy in me, very strong and tactile. Kundalini was active. And I suddenly realized that I was trying to guide the energy. Oh, yeah, you know, Manisha, it is such an easy thing for the ego to want to do. It's like, I've got to assert control on this unknown quality. Because it's unknown, that means it's slightly scary. And because it's slightly scary, the ego is going to go, well, let's see if we can control this. So totally understood. And Manisha writes, she says, then I dropped it, and I just did nothing, sort of. And she says, and it was fantastic. And so are you fantastic, Manisha. Thank you. Thank you for writing of that experience. And it looks like Centaura has cleared the person. Their name is yes.
There's a lady on the group there that has just come on, and she asked if you did readings, and I explained that it was Kundalini and that sometimes in that context you do. So I'm not too sure, Chrism. Do you want? I'm not sure if it's Kundalini or not. It might be about chakras or auras, but just to let you know.
Well, let's see what she's.
So will we go and say hi to her? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Hi, Ciara. How are you? You're on the air with Chrism.
It's Kira, and I'm doing all right.
Kira. Thank you.
Kira.
And you're looking for a reading?
Yeah, or she said that you wouldn't do readings, but since you're talking about Kundalini.
This is all about the Kundalini. Are you looking for a tarot card reading?
That's what I initially was looking for, but I was wondering if you could see anything with energy, like the chakras.
Like what?
The chakras.
Chakras. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm seeing a lot of chakra blockage with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of blocks. You would do well to start practicing the safety protocols. And there's too much interference within your spinal cord to really go into it with the time that we have on this program. So go to www.kundalinisafeties.com and begin to practice those exercises. And those will clear things up for you in a very short period of time.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you.
Okay. And thank you for joining us, my dear. Thank you. Yes. I mean, sometimes, there's always a place to start. You got to start. You've got to start. And I'm not saying that she's, at the beginning of anything, but sometimes, the development needs to be following that golden carrot, so to speak, and following the golden carrot into levels of refinement along the lines of the noble behaviors, the noble qualities of behavior, like forgiveness, like service, like compassionate kindness, like truth and honesty, and a lack of self-aggrandizement or a lack of bringing all the attention to yourself because you think you're special. These types of things need to go away or to be lowered significantly in order for a new percentage to be given to an individual, a new percentage of brain function, a new percentage of seventh chakra creation. So yeah, and blessings to you, Kiara, for having the courage to call into the program. I know that's not the easiest thing, but when I did look at you, I could see just a lot of shadows over your chakras. So you're feeding people energy, and they're kind of like parasites on you, and you need to take care of those parasitic shadows around you. Some of them are self-induced, and some of them are just because they're self-induced. You create an environment of predation where anything that wants to take your energy can just tie into you and start taking your energy. And you need to really find a level of neutrality away from that kind of an environment. You need to be able to stand on your own with grace and with kindness and with forgiveness and tolerance, and trust that the energy of the Kundalini is flowing through you in a way that allows you to discover levels of truth that you have not yet been able to manifest within yourself. So these are some of the other things that I see that need to occur for you. This is what is being given to me to give to you. So there you have it, my dear. And Santara. Yes.
So can we just give Kira the website again? It's
www.kundalinisafety.com.
Yeah. On the bottom there, you can see Jan is there. Jan has a question for you. Jan is from the chat room and will be coming to meet us in Germany. So that's Jan.
Is this on the chat room or on?
No, he's below here now. I'm going to put him on for you, okay? And you can speak to me. He has a question for you here in the studio.
Oh, Jan Mine. Jan B.
Yeah.
Hey.
Mine.
Hello. Yeah, this is Jan. Hello, Chrism.
Hi, Jan.
Nice to meet
do you speak German?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let me try some of my German on you. Das Wasser ist kalt.
Das Wasser ist kalt,
ich
stimmt.
bin
Aber
durstig.
Wasser ist gut.
Das Wasser ist kalt. The rest of that's about it, I have to say. I mean, I know a few not so nice words, but that's about it. How are you, Jan?
Well, Manisha and me, I'm great. I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for joining us on the radio show, and thank you for signing up for the seminar that's going to be in just a few weeks away.
Thank you for this great opportunity.
How may I help you today, my friend?
Well, I've got this issue. I don't have the Kundalini yet, but I had a moment of grace when my crown chakra opened. Was about half a year ago.
Were you doing
a lot better?
Were you doing any kind of chemical marijuana or anything like that?
I did psilocybin.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know it. Yeah,
that's
I didn't
okay.
Know
that's okay.
Yeah.
I've done psilocybin myself, but no, you weren't. No, you were just exploring. There's something to be said for innocence too. Well, Chan, so based upon that experience, that the crown chakra opened up, and I can see how that would have occurred, what has been happening to you since then?
Well, I quit my job, but I decided on my own because I realized that it was not the right job for me. And I was, I had no work for half a year. I broke my foot. One day
Which
after,
foot?
The right foot. I've got a lot of trouble with my feet, actually. From, about 3 years now already. Since about 3 years. It's got pretty often, actually. I broke my foot once, and I've got problems with my knee and my foot. And I'm going to the hospital quite often. I've been quite a lot this
the right knee
last year.
Is this all on the right
the
side?
right knee. It's the right side.
So the right foot, the right knee. What else is happening on the right side?
I've got what's that? With my elbow, I had kind of an infection in my elbow.
Okay, I need to ask you some questions. Okay, are you ready?
And and the doctor took my gallbladder as well.
Don't let them take anything else out. Okay, seriously.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Keep yourself away from the surgeons. They don't know what's happening.
Yeah,
I have an idea
tried to,
what's
but
happening.
it hurt really much. Yeah.
Yeah. Your sacred masculine needs to be recognized more from you. The masculine, the sacred masculine, that point of...
Oh, I was working towards the opposite direction actually all the time.
Yeah. This is the correction now. You need to acknowledge sacred masculine. You need to feel that thrust of sacred masculine. You need to feel his strength and his courage and his durability. You need to really get into the sacred male, not the female. This is what's happening. Is you've been putting so much energy into the sacred female, you have been totally ignoring sacred masculine, and this is probably due to the psilocybin experience. But you need to get your balance shifted over to sacred masculine, and you need to do it today, Jan. Today.
Okay.
I need you to really... I'm going to suggest that you start beating your chest and howling like a wolf and going out and beating somebody up.
No, I'm going to do it. Why not? Running bare feet and beating in my chest.
Yes.
I can do that.
Yes. I'm not joking about that. You go out and
I'll do it. No problem.
Exalt. Yeah, good, because it's so important for you to find that balance. You've been drifting off to the sacred feminine. Are you growing breasts? I'm kidding.
What?
I'm kidding.
Yeah, I've got a little breasts. Yeah, that's right. I had those.
I want you to grow in another area, maybe slightly lower.
Okay.
Yeah, this is not uncommon, Jan. This happens to people that have a like a seventh chakra opening before the first, a reverse or a top-down activation, and it's very difficult for them to understand what is happening, and so of course they feel drawn to the sacred feminine because it is the sacred mother that nurtures these areas, but it's harder to go down from refinement into what's the word, density. But I feel that once you have established your balance, Chan, by going out and being that Superman, not the Superwoman, but Superman, and helping people with your strength, helping people with the thrust of your masculinity and the hard sweat masculine bravado that we tend to express. Should I keep on doing that? Masculine.
Should I keep on sticking to that habit?
Yeah, stick to it. Stick to it at least until I see you at the seminar, and then we make adjustments when I see you there.
Okay. Because I feel like I'm moving back and forth with my what I do. That I'm kind of getting in balance real fast.
What do you do?
I stopped masturbating, stopped drinking alcohol and all of that stuff, and caffeine and all. Don't drink the alcohol. Don't drink the alcohol. Yeah, I stopped it. I quit my job. I was a brewer. I was brewing beer, and I stopped brewing beer, and now I do vinegar.
You can still
instead.
You can still brew beer. Matter of fact, that could be a very, very special quality of healing that you give into the population, brewing a beer that has a Kundalini signature upon it. That could be very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still like to brew it. I just don't drink it anymore.
Well, and even if you do just taste it, you're not drinking it to get drunk, and I would suggest that you stop all psilocybin. Don't do the psilocybin anymore.
No, I didn't take any drugs since then.
Oh,
not at all.
Good.
Yeah.
But I do feel that you're brewing. Oh, this is weird. I'm getting a lot of interesting images for you, Jan.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I'll just go ahead and say it.
Okay.
You need to get a sword. You need to get an old. I know. You need to get a sword, like an old Bavarian sword or something that the knights.
I know where to get it.
Oh, good. So you need to get one of those, and I want you to start training with it. I want you to start taking swordsmanship courses or classes if you can find where they're taught. I know they teach them there in Germany, but I think this is what she's showing me right now. This man needs to take his sword by the hand, meaning the sword is being equated with your penis or the Shiva Lingam, and you need to work with it. You need to work with it in a very battle oriented type of way. Something that allows you to feel the grace of sacred masculine. And then when you're in your daily life, to reach into the populations, Jan, and to help those who cannot help themselves. This is also an act of masculine grace. To be that savior, to be that knight in shining armor, to be that person.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like this is something I always identified with. Actually.
Well, I think you need to act on that identification now. Act on it.
Yeah,
I should happen. Get back into your brewing. I'm not getting any kind of a no on that. Get back into your brewing. This is supported. This will help you. Do not partake of it yourself to the degree where you're feeling the effect of alcohol. But
sure,
it will help you. Now, she may also take you out of it later on, but in the meantime, get back to work, my friend.
I will do.
Thank you for calling in, Jan. Thank you.
Thank you, Chrism. Thank you.
You're welcome. And going into the blue here. Well, that was interesting. She kind of danced around that very seeing visions of swords and and the whole, let's get back into the brewing thing. There's that too.
Yeah.
Jan, if you're still listening, maybe you could also brew a non-alcoholic beer that would taste really good to people as well. That's another option as well. But continue brewing, continue the work that you're doing, because as you come into your Kundalini more and more and more, especially after the seminar, you'll have a greater frequency, a greater charge of it, and it can have a healing effect on people. It can have a healing effect, and I'm being shown all different kinds of things, and I need to mention some of them. You can brew the beer with an anti-entity effect. You can put in a frequency of energy that actually repels entity contact from people who are overindulging in the excellent beer. And so I'll talk with you some more about that when I see you at the seminar, because I think that would help other people there too. I think, interesting stuff. And then with the swords, she saw you with a broadsword, not a little skinny sword. Okay, we're not talking a little sword. We're talking a big sword. You need to wrap your hands around the hilt of that big sword and swing that thing right and left and really get one and really there are different sword practices that you can do. They're like katas in Taekwondo. And so if you look up kata, it's spelled K-A-T-A. A kata within swordsmanship is basically learning how to sword fight. And basically it's like a dance. They have foot positions, they have body positions, they have sword positions. I've done a little bit of this myself when I was grabbing my sword, and I still have my sword here. And it is a sacred dance that the sacred masculine can do with his sword. So I strongly suggest that you do this as well, Jan. Do you have comments on this, Santara?
Well, I do. When he mentioned vinegar, that he was now brewing vinegar, I got a bing. I think brewing vinegars would be lovely as well, Chrism, for salads. And there's different.
I resonate with that completely. Jan, if you can diversify your brewing, if you can do the vinegar, do the wine perhaps, like a Rhine wine or something like that, and do the beer and do the mead. I know Santara has a special love of mead, and so if you can bring back some of the ancient drinks, well, you're going to be a very wealthy man. And I want to present it.
It would be wonderful to have a Kundalini person. To have a Kundalini person doing that work, and I was very interested in the anti-entity effect. So I'd be looking forward to hearing more about that too after you've spoken to Jan.
Well, you're going to meet him. You're going to meet him.
Yeah.
So.
I'm looking forward to it very much. But the other thing was, it was good actually, Jan, thank you, to hear as well, Chrism, speak about, the sacred masculine. Because I think we don't talk about that often, and I mean, and that would also apply to women, because I remember a time when you would have instructed me more on that aspect within me. I know it's a bit different because Jan is a guy, but it was lovely to hear you saying that about, focusing on the strength, how to help people through the strength and the sweat and all of that. It was great.
Knight in shining armor, yeah. If you look at the Grail quest, King Arthur and the Grail quest. Well, if you look at Parsifal is the name of a character in the Grail quest, and Parsifal goes through all these tests of searching for the Holy Grail, and basically what he ends up doing is all of the safety protocols for Kundalini activation. Parsifal and the Grail quest is really, it should be called the Kundalini quest, because it's the same deal. Except the thing is you're using the safeties in a way that allows you to attain the Kundalini. It's an activation platform. And so the Grail quest is really a quest for personal enlightenment. What people are, as they focus on the Grail and they're looking outside themselves for the Grail, what they're missing is that they are the Grail. They are the sacred cup of grace. And to refine themselves by doing all the good deeds that the Knights of the Grail quest would do, helping people, assisting people, having compassion for people, striving to represent truth and justice and honesty in all ways. These are actions of refinement that will bring the divine grace into the body and to fill that human grail, typically from the bottom up, but sometimes, as with Jan, from the top down. From the top down. And if you listen to what Mohan was saying, Mohan's statement ties right into this, because Mohan is already feeling that liquid light in his forehead. He's feeling it flowing around him and down him. And if you go back to to a lot of the people that have called in recent shows. They're feeling that fluid of joy flowing around them and in them and through the chakras and all, mostly on the top of the head. And so the Grail and that which fills the Grail, that divine force that fills the Grail, is the Kundalini, and Jan is that knight, that Teutonic knight in the quest for his Grail. And we'll be talking about that in the seminar. Manisha, if you can make a note for me on that, Manisha, if you're still listening. If you, uh-oh, I've been corrected on my German here. Das Wasser ist
she's
kalt.
God, actually,
yeah.
Is she? Yes, she's there, Manisha.
No, Jen, it's not a krata, it's kata. 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 And Jan says he's doing wine at home as well. Jan, any kind of fermentation type of thing is fine. Do it. Try to make some money and no, not Katha. It's Kata. Kata. And it's all one word. Kata.
And you'll find it on YouTube. Well, no. Would you?
That's
you
an
can find
thing.
some of
Jan. Yeah, Jan. Go on YouTube and put in the search engine sword practices, I guess, sword practices, and you may see some of these things that I'm talking about. Yeah. Yes, and definitely make money and definitely start selling. Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Manisha, for making that note, because that's very important. That's a very big European thing, is the Parsifal and the Grail Quest, especially in Germany. I think one of the authors of the Grail Quest was German, and he came up with the name Parsifal, which translated into the English version of one of the Knights of the Round Table. I forget which one though. But this is all really, really, really good stuff, and it's very, very easy to understand when you place it in terms of something that we've grown up with, like King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, right? And so, wow, very good. And yes, I suggest that you start making money at this, Jan, and that you start selling, and that you become very wealthy and happy and healthy and still expressing the highest virtues of the Kundalini at the same time. Definitely. Yeah. Just because you're wealthy doesn't mean you can't have grace. Just talk to Emma.
And you will actually.
Emma's a millionaire. She's a millionairess. She's got billions and billions and billions of dollars, and she drives around in a normal, Nissan Juke. It's very cool, very nice. I'm kidding, Emma. What were you saying?
But you will get the kata. You will get the kata on YouTube, because I've looked at that before. So you will. It's very cool.
Sword kata.
Emma's laughing out loud. Yeah, sword kata. You will get it on YouTube.
And let me look myself here. Sword katas. Oh yeah, look at that. Sword kata tutorial. Oh, look at that. Wow, look at that.
Is it there?
Cool.
Okay,
very
yeah.
Cool. It's called ninjatrainingtv.com. Ninja Training. So
now, some of it is crap. Be discerning, Jan. Some of it is nonsense, but there's a few really good ones, I think. My son has a sword as well.
You'll have to go through them. Yeah. And you don't. Here's the other one. It's called Learn Sword. How to spin a sword. No. I don't want you spinning the swords. Not until you get really, really good at it. The idea is not to hurt yourself. But they do have some, a lot of the Asians get into the whole sword katas. And they're very cool. These are very cool. Conan the Barbarian, Recovery, Atlantis Sword. Now this one here, this Conan one, I'm going to put the link here on the chat group. The only reason I say this is because Arnold Schwarzenegger, really focuses more on sacred masculinity than anything. And so there's a good source for sacred masculine. So Jan, if you see that link, go ahead and have a look at Conan the Barbarian doing his sword dance or his sword kata. There we have it. And I'm looking forward to see you at the seminar, Jan Bien. Santara, do you have any questions that you've collected?
I have a few things that I wanted to, whether I get them. I just wanted to say something as well too about what Indra said, and what you said about Kundalini people, that went near us for a time when Kundalini allows it. And I think as well, Kundalini, in my experience anyway, she allows, what happens to us in meditation? Well, she begins to allow that to happen to us too in our walking around state, the blending of other dimensions, or, she inserts other, stuff into our reality for a time. And I suppose one of the things for me was when that happened was, and with your assistant saying to me, Chrism, not to become attached to those things too much either. Because you can, it's like what you were saying earlier, that you can become attached. We can become not just ego things that are there for a long, long time, but sometimes we can become too attached maybe to stuff that comes to us. That's part of the testing as well, I think. What would you say to that?
I do agree with that. I agree that you don't want to become over-attached to it. You don't want to become over-attached to outside influences guiding you this way or that. You want to be more attached to the inner grace that is, expressing herself and his self through you. That's the major, if you have to have an attachment to that, but don't have an attachment to any kind of outcome or any kind of gifting or any kind of sacred skill set, like most people tend to form an attachment on that. And as Santara mentioned, don't have expectations of this happening over and over and over. Yes, it may. It's happened 3 times for her, and that's great. But take it one day at a time and see how this thing begins to manifest within you, Indra. And thank you, Indra, for calling in and asking the question. And what do you have, Santara? What questions might you have?
Well, I have 1 or 2 more things. I wanted to just give out the donation information because I haven't done it for a while, Chrism. So if I could do that now, I'd like to do it. There are a few places that you can donate, and by donate I mean contribute to the work that Chrism does, because he does this work 24/7, and really, to be honest, donations assist him in that. And by donating, you're assisting everybody. It can be part of your Kundalini, your commitment to Kundalini as well, and your service, because you are being of service to all the people that Chrism supports and helps. So if you're in a position to donate, I would really I'm asking you to please go ahead and do that if you're in a position to donate. So I'm going to give you 3 places that you can do it. On that Kundalini website that Chrism mentioned, KundaliniSafeties.com, scroll down to the end where you see the information about Chrism, and in writing you will see how to donate. You click on that, and then you're brought into how to donate. You can also go to chrismkundalini.blogspot.com, and there is a donate button, and you just press that, and it's easy peasy. And the third option, if you have PayPal, you can go to your own PayPal account, and I will give you Chrism's PayPal email address now that you can put in. Donating to Chrism on PayPal, there is a little button, I suppose you call it, and it says add a note. And you can add a note there and just say to Chrism, donation from, and he will then know who it is, because sometimes our email address is different to our name, just so that he knows that you're making a donation. So here is his email address. It's Chris Mitchell chrismit369@yahoo.com. And ChrismitChell 369@yahoo.com. And so again, I haven't done this for a while, guys. So if you're in a position to donate, I would encourage you to maybe do that when the show is over and be a service to everybody that Chrism helps. And there's one last thing, Chrism, if I may. I'll cut this very, very short because there's no need to go into details. But I'm looking at, there's not going to be a workshop or a seminar or a weekly Kundalini gathering held in Kerry because circumstances have changed. But I am looking to do something in Ireland. I was originally going to do something in August or September, and I'm not sure if that's too soon after Germany or whether I should push it out to later in the year or maybe in the spring. So if you're listening to this, I'll give you a very quick idea of what we're talking about. There's this beautiful Georgian house that I'm considering renting for a weekend, Friday to Sunday evening. We would be served really good quality food, as in vegetarian food, and there is 25 beautiful acres there. So it would be a really interesting setting, and it's set in the Boyne Valley area of Ireland, which is a very ancient place. So I would be very interested to know if there is an interest in that and people coming from Europe or anywhere in the world to that for a weekend. There's also an opportunity to maybe extend that into, going to other places after the gathering, after the weekend community get together with Chrism. So I'm going to give you an address. You can contact me on my Suntara page, obviously on Facebook, but also at Kundalini Matters. You can send an email to, what's my email address? KundaliniMatters@gmail.com. That's it. So please, I would appreciate some feedback or your thoughts on coming to Ireland for a gathering with Chrism, a weekend in this beautiful location, and then possibly extending that to a few more days and maybe touring some of the sacred sites in Ireland. But I do need your feedback because if I'm going to do this, the minimum amount because I'll have to pay a deposit, guys, and it's non-refundable. It's not going to be way expensive. I figure I wasn't going to talk this much, but I might as well, and then I'll stop. If this is going to happen, I think it can be done for about €300 for the weekend, and that will include your board, where you sleep, obviously, and your food for the whole weekend, and the seminar cost of getting Chrism over from America as well. So to leave out €300 for the whole lot, which is extremely good value. And what we get from Chrism is priceless anyway, but that's what it would cost to get him there and for us to do this seminar, and I need 15 people. I feel I'm not in a position to go ahead unless I get some feedback from the community here, and I'll be talking.
Well, I'm going to give you my support. I think I've done these seminars in Ireland, and Ireland is very conducive to Kundalini. It is an amazing island, and Amelia really, really goes way out and puts out a very, very nice program. And so I'm going to suggest for those of you that live in the UK, for those of you that live in France, for those of you that live in Germany, I feel that she will put this far enough down the line that for those of you that are going to Manisha's here in Karlsruhe, Germany, you can just as easily, and if you have that interest, and I think you will, to pursue the Kundalini, to pursue the Grail quest, that inner Grail quest, that you come to Ireland and you come to this beautiful place that Suntara has researched and she's looked into, and she's putting her own Kundalini grace into this. And let's do it. Let's meet up in Ireland, after we meet in Germany. And for the people that are living in the United States, for those of you that have Irish descent, come on out. Even if you don't, come on to Ireland. Ireland is a beautiful place, absolutely stunning. They don't call it the Emerald Isle for nothing. and to go into the Boyne Valley, which is near the hill of Tara, some of these really beautiful ancient areas, definitely make the time and take that vacation and come on out and make it a kind of a vacation of your, well, I shouldn't say it, make it a transition of your soul, make it a transition from the mundane life into the exalted life. And folks, you may be thinking, oh, that's so far away, Ireland, it's so far away. The scenario is sometimes we have to make a pilgrimage in order to have these things count to our ego. And a pilgrimage is exactly that. I mean, you come as a pilgrim, and you come to receive the holy grace that is waiting for you at the end of that journey and at the beginning of another journey as you come to the end of the pilgrimage journey. And so make it that pilgrimage. Make it an Ireland pilgrimage at this point. Pilgrimage to the Tua de Danann and to the Furbolg and to the Partholonian and to the other ancient denizens of the Irish island. I support this.
Chrism, wonderful. Thank you.
I will be coming.
Yes, you will. That's wonderful. And 15 is the minimum, but we can take up to 30. So again, do get in contact with me and let me know what you think. And pilgrimage is exactly what it is, Chrism. That's such a perfect word. It's a pilgrimage, a quest, it's a retreat. It's just a wonderful opportunity to develop, your relationship.
And would you place that on Facebook too, please, so that I can copy it and put it in the other various groups that we have too.
Yeah. I will, of course, yeah.
And listen to Mohan. Mohan had a great experience after the seminar, and so did the other people that attended these seminars. You're getting results from these seminars, and I want you to strongly consider the Irish pilgrimage. Maybe that's what we should call it, the Irish Kundalini pilgrimage. So it's yeah. So you were saying, I interrupted. I spoke right over you like a rude man.
You're I was just going to say, if people contact me, let me know what suits them. If I could get a sense of that as well, that would be helpful for me. That would be good. And I mean, everybody, that is interested, drop me a line, please. Great.
And the thing is, hang on. If you weren't able to sign up by virtue of your job or your family issues, whatever, you didn't have the funding required to travel to Germany and to be with all of us in Manisha, your Kundalini family at Manisha's place, then strongly consider the Irish Kundalini pilgrimage, because this is an excellent opportunity. And if you ask other people that have partaken of Kundalini seminars, $300 is a very, very inexpensive seminar price. Nobody's getting rich here. Nobody. We are covering costs. That's what we're doing.
Well, that's what we're doing. And you're okay. So that's it, really, Chrism. Just wanted to give that information, and I look forward to hearing from people. And so, what time do we have? I must go over to.
We have 10 minutes left.
Okay.
10 minutes.
So let me see. I'm going to ask. Now, there was a question came in on Kundalini People Group, and I'm just going to ask that straight out now. I can't tell you who's asked it because it's in I don't read Eastern. One second, here I have it. Why gurus grow their hairs? Why do gurus grow their hair?
Well,
I think it's an
after you have
question,
the Kundalini, hang on, I'm gonna go. I'm going for this. After you have the Kundalini, never again can you just buy a hairbrush from any store. You have to make your own hairbrush, and so the only way you can make your own hairbrush is to cut your hair and then groom it with the guru hairbrush. Okay. And once they get that hairbrush going, then they can grow their hair long. Sorry.
We've only got 10 minutes.
It's all about having the Kundalini flow down the hair, the length of the hair from the hair follicle. The hair is an extension of the seventh chakra, the crown chakra, the crown jewel of the human being. And as that extension, it also assists and participates in the flow of grace into the environment. This is why people grow their hair within the Kundalini context. Over.
Excellent. Thanks, Chrism. Thank you. So now, the next question, and it says, how to recognize if a person is Kundalini awakened or fake, because many claim to be awakened or activated.
Well, yeah, first of all, you have to use your own intuition with that. But, it's interesting. You have to look at your expectations. Well, what is your expectation of a holy man, of a person that has the Kundalini? What is your expectation? What are you looking for? And are you awakened enough yourself to look for certain points? What I would look for, when I was mundane, never was. That's the problem. But I had a mundane mindset. Let's put it that way. And I would look for truth. I would look for service. I would look for honesty. And I would look for the application of that truth and honesty upon the information that is being given. I would look, is he charging for this? Is he making a whole lot of money from this? And not that money is bad, but is there a level of greed that is coming in? Is he driving a limousine or, those cars that Osho was driving? I forget what they're called. How is he living? How is he responding to people? Is he harsh when he needs to be harsh? Is he soft when he needs to be soft? I mean, let the individual and the information resonate with you and basically form an alignment based upon that kind of a scenario, rather than from what you read about them, what other people's experiences are with them. That's not exactly a good barometer these days, because the people that enjoy typically won't write about it, and the people that don't enjoy will always write about it. And so you're not getting an honest answer when you look at reviews and things of that nature. Look and make sure that the information resonates with you and resonates with your own intuitive faculties. You're always going to take a risk with people that you don't know. Look at what they wrote 5 years ago. See if it's the same thing that they're writing today. Look into these areas. Use those as measurements of consistency in teaching and things of that level. Over.
Thanks, Chrism. Question out from the group. Can one use Kundalini to influence weight control? Can one use Kundalini?
Actually, you don't get to use Kundalini for anything. Kundalini uses you for everything. Okay. You don't get to have the control. You're not sitting in the driver's seat going, okay, Kundalini, right now I command you, I need to lose 30 pounds and get my bikini beach bod back up in shape. No.
Oh, please,
you don't get to do that.
You don't.
No. But when the Kundalini comes, you will typically lose weight. You got to remember, I don't know how she wants me to say this, but okay. Appetite and sexual union are connected. And if you're not having a lot of good interaction with the opposite gender within a sexual union format type of thing, well, then the ego is going to go for more food. It's going to go for more eating, for more consuming, in order to fill that void within it. if you're doing that, you need to stop. If you're not having sex or you're not having a strong level of inner discipline over what you consume, then you really need to initiate that discipline. You need to find it somewhere. I'm sorry to phrase it in such ways, but this is a fact. This is a fact for the people that are having,
It's true.
I'm sorry?
I'm saying what you're saying. It's true.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And so the greater you can partake of your spouse or your boyfriend, your girlfriend, the greater love bond you can develop, the less weight you're going to carry. Now, people have different levels of passionate response, and eating is a passionate response just as much as kissing or loving is. And so, look at your passions and look at where they're taking you. Are they taking you to the dinner table all the time? Then expand your passions beyond the dinner table, beyond what's in the refrigerator, beyond that chocolate sundae or that cake or that whatever it is, banana cream pie. I mean, beyond it. And within that level of beyond, you will find the characteristics of self-discipline that will allow you to have hard work and lots of fun. Hard work, hard fun, not as much of a caloric intake. Over.
Okay, and sometimes, Chrism, with that being done, you might not lose weight either, because the Kundalini doesn't allow that. It's so you could be.
That's true. She's in charge of the weight gain or the weight loss.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll lose 30 pounds, and sometimes you'll gain 30 pounds.
Yeah, and you haven't changed your diet, let's say, and still you lose. Sometimes you change your diet and you don't lose. It's like really fascinating, and it's really interesting.
You don't get to use the Kundalini though for anything, and you certainly don't get to use the Kundalini to lose weight to look better. To the opposite
you see,
sex.
I think that's going on for me, if I may say so. And it's really interesting to me because I have been really eating not rubbish or anything for quite a while, and I'm not losing any weight. And it was only the other day it suddenly occurred to me, part of my motivation wasn't just about what you were talking about there, which I know is correct about, it was about wanting to look good, which was ego. And I think that's why I haven't lost weight, Chrism. Do you think?
The weight is clearly connected to the ego, really.
I think so.
To ego saturation. And I'm going to ask if you have any last words, my dear.
I do not have any last words, Chrism. See everybody next week. My last words.
Okay, and I wanted to encourage everybody to consider the Irish pilgrimage coming up, and Amelia's going to write about this on Facebook, and she'll set a date and a time and all that. But really start saving now. Start saving now and make that pilgrimage. Make the pilgrimage. This has just come up. This is not a new thing. I mean, this is not an old thing. We have been planning this for very long, and so I really want you to understand that and to really come in soon and let Amelia know soon, what your level of interest is. And I'm sure she'll put a Facebook page out there in the whole bit. So anyway, I'd like to thank everybody in the chat room for listening, and everybody in Facebook for listening, and everybody all over the world listening to this program right now or in the archives, the future people. I'd like to say thank you to Santara for having this program and paying for this program, supporting this program. I'd like to say thank you to the sacred Shakti Kundalini in everyone for giving the gifts of herself, and the sacred masculine for giving the gifts of himself, that we may all evolve into the semi-divine humans that we have the capacity to be. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and a good day to you.
Hey Schatz, Lust auf eine Runde Stadt-Land-Fluss?
Okay, aber ich fahr.
Soll doch bei Ihnen für jede Menge Spaß.
Das Skoda Dieselversprechen für Euro 6 Diesel. Damit sorgen wir dafür, dass Sie, egal was die Zukunft bringt, in Fahrt bleiben. Auch in Ihrer Stadt. Und das Beste, wer jetzt seinen alten Diesel gegen einen neuen Skoda Diesel eintauscht, erhält von uns einen Bye-Bye-Bonus von bis zu 7.500 Euro. Mehr beim teilnehmenden Skoda-Partner oder unter skoda.de/Dieselversprechen. Skoda. Simply clever.